The Raiders and the Bulldogs have gone out in straight sets from the top four to being eliminated in the first two rounds of the finals. Well done to the Sharks and the Panthers for doing it outside the top four. Let's talk about it. Hit the intro. How are we, lads? Welcome back to the Nick from Australia YouTube channel. I hope you guys are all doing well for your Sunday night. It is September 21, 2025, 8:32 p.m. I hope everybody is doing well. Welcome to the NRL Finals Week 2 review and reaction. Week 2 of the finals has come to a close. We look forward to the preliminary finals next week, which will be absolutely massive. Friday night, Melbourne Storm take on the Cronulla Sharks down there at Amy Park in Melbourne. And next Sunday, the Brisbane Broncos will take on the Penrith Panthers up at Suncorp Stadium in Brisbane. My name is Nick from Australia, and if you are new around here, I hope I can get you to like the stream and subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate that. If you're a regular viewer, thank you very much for watching as always. If you're a brand new viewer and you're not, familiar around here, welcome to the channel. I really appreciate it. Like I said, like and subscribe. And if you want to go above and beyond and you want to donate to the channel, then you've got options in the live. You've got PayPal, you've got PayID, and you've got Super Chat. So if you want to donate to the channel, go above and beyond. Those options are there as well. Before we get into it, I just want to acknowledge the live chat as always. Without the live chat, it would be pretty miserable, to be honest. Shout out to the live chat. Shout out to the loyal supporters. Hello to Jason Reader, one of the OGs. Jason Reader, the great man himself. G'day to Josh Sami as well, another consistent viewer. We got the J-Man, Luke Melbourne Storm fan, Darren, River, Will, Bosky, Tom, William Storm fan, everyone that is watching. Wow. Hello to Ali as well. Well, far out. Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable, man. 5th and 7th eliminate 1st and 3rd. Now, we'll get to it in a minute, but it's crazy that the final series is finishing off with 2nd versus 5th and 4th versus 7th. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. All right. We might as well get to it. We might as well get straight to it, guys. Saturday night, the Raiders and the Sharks in the semi-final down there in Canberra. The Sharks got the win, 32 points to 12. Congratulations to the Sharks. Outstanding performance. Seriously. Absolutely outstanding. I thought they were great. The Sharks, I thought they played really well. The Raiders, obviously, we learnt the news on Saturday morning about 10 a.m., I think it was. Ethan Strange was ruled out of the semi-final due to illness. Apparently, he was really sick. Apparently, he was coughing up blood and all sorts of stuff. So, terrible news there for Ethan Strange, and it was a massive loss. As soon as Ethan Strange was ruled out, we all knew the Raiders were in a bit of trouble. And, there was rumors throughout the day what they were going to do with the team. Do they put Simi Sasungi in to 5'8"? Do they move Carol Weeks to 5'8", Chris to fullback, Sasungi to the centres? Or do they bring in Ethan Sanders, who was jersey number 19 and was still in the squad? Or he was still in the 19-man squad. So Look, obviously the Sharks won, and what Ricky Stewart did with the team was a mistake with the whole replacing Ethan Strange thing. But here's what I think the Raiders did wrong. Ethan Sanders should have been selected. Now, the thing that I don't understand, and I'm sure Canberra Raiders supporters may correct me on this, but the Raiders are losing Jamal Fogarty. Jamal Fogarty is going to Manly. That's where he will be next year. Now, Ethan Sanders is apparently the Raiders' halfback next season. You lose your main 5'8". You lose a guy that's worth about 14, 16 points. Instead of bringing in the guy that's going to be your starting half next season, you go with a bloke who hasn't played 5'8" since, last season, or even like when he was at Newcastle in Sasungi. Like, I'm starting to question whether the Raiders really believe Ethan Sanders is their future, because why wouldn't you just bring him in? Like, I understand it's a big game and maybe you don't want to throw that pressure on him, but with Ethan Strange being ruled out, in my opinion, there isn't much pressure on Ethan Sanders. It's like, you're going to lose a lot with Ethan Strange being out, but to not bring in the guy that's going to be there next year and just throw a utility player in the halves is just crazy to me. I just don't understand that decision-making. I think it's a mistake. Now, whether that would have changed the result last night, who the hell knows? But you could see how much the Raiders' attack missed Ethan Strange. But I just found it a bit strange the way they did it, man. Sasungi at 5'8". I mean, I'm a big Sasungi fan, big fan of his work. I like what he's about, but not a 5'8" in the semi-final. It's not going to work. So I think they made a huge mistake by not playing Sanders last night. Big mistake. Now, the Sharks. Let's talk about the Sharks, because they're not getting enough credit, in my opinion. They're all talking about how bad the Raiders were, how flat they were, minor premiers. Let's talk about the Sharks. This team, at the start of the season and throughout the season, especially the middle part of the year, they lacked a underbelly. I listened to the Hello Sport podcast. I listened to those boys dribble on about rugby league all the time. And they said at the start of the year, and pretty much halfway through the year, the Sharks lacked an underbelly. They haven't got what it takes to win grindy type games, and they can't get the job done. Well, not only have they found an underbelly, but they have found their defense. Holy shit. They only conceded 2 tries on the weekend. And one of them was just a crash over play where Horsburgh just put the ball down, really. He stretched out, put the ball down. And the other one was a try in the corner through Tamale, where I think it was just a bad decision from Katoa or Ramian from memory. I think it was Ramian, but the Sharks' defense has been great. And you got to give it to them, man, because the Raiders, early on in the game, the Raiders had multiple opportunities to score points or even take the penalty goal. But the Raiders didn't want to do it. Now, normally in a sudden death semi-final, if you get a penalty goal right in front and it's 0-0 or it's 2-0, normally you just keep taking the 2 points until, the penalties stop and you end up scoring a try. But the Raiders said no to the penalty goal about 3 or 4 times. And it ended up biting them on the ass. Like, it really was bizarre. The Sharks, you got to give the Sharks a lot of credit, man. Like I said, they come 5th on the ladder. Not many people thought they'd get past the first round. Everyone said the Roosters would beat them. The Sharks beat the Roosters in week 1. And then they went down to Canberra, and it was a good contest for a while. But in my opinion, the game changer was the Billy Burns try. Like, that was so big. That was such a big try. I think it was 14-12 at that point in favor of Cronulla. I think it was 14-12. And then Billy Burns, again, not really much happening. He just sort of ran through the middle, saw a bit of space, and he went over and scored. It was a pretty soft try. And, you know, obviously went to 20-12 at that point. I think it was 20-12. And then Iro scored. When Iro scored, I thought to myself, 26-12, about 17 minutes to go. And I'm sitting there watching the game, and I'm like, how the fuck are the Raiders going to come back from this? Their 5'8's not there, and they're down 26-12. Are they going to be able to replicate what the Broncos did to the Raiders in week 1? Not only did the Raiders not do anything, they couldn't do anything. The Sharks' defense was up in their face all game, and it was unbelievable. It really was. It was absolutely unbelievable. Now, there was a no try in the second half to, it might have been in the first half. Simi Sasangi's no try with the obstruction. Well, I understand that is the rule, and I know it is obstruction technically, but you go back and watch that no try to Sasangi, there is absolutely no way on this planet that Billy Burns is getting there. No way in the world. So I thought that was a tough decision, but outside of that, the Sharks were clinical. They were very good. They defended really well. Their attack was great. And I think what summed up the Raiders' night, you know your season's over when you're conceding a try to a Teague Wilton grubber kick, a regather, and then he scored. Like that was something else. I don't think you'll see Teague Wilton do that ever again, unless they're playing the Titans and it's 40-0. But unbelievable, man. The Sharks were great. Credit to them, and they advance to the preliminary final. But look, if you're looking for a player of the game from Raiders Sharks, it is a very tough one to pick. There were several stars. Blake Brayley for me is right up there. He had 61 tackles. Brayley was great. He was absolutely great. You had, Iro was great. Hines, Wilton, all these guys. And I've got to say, guys, the Sharks bench, it's absolutely incredible. Obviously, they don't really have a utility on the bench, but some of the guys at the bench are unbelievable in the weekend. Like Talakai was great. Hamanueli was great. Nakora, they all brought a lot of impact off the bench. So, impressive from the Sharks. Player of the game, I'll probably go Blake Brayley. But, yeah, great win for the Sharks. And we'll see how they go against Melbourne on Friday night. Big game, that one, down there in Melbourne. Obviously, we'll get to the preview of that one probably Tuesday night. But, well done to the Sharks. 32-12 win over the Raiders. And then we get to today's game, which we're not going to spend a lot of time on because it was a huge disappointment, in my opinion. Panthers 46, Bulldogs 26. The Bulldogs. This is the second year in a row now where they have just completely collapsed at the end of the year. I don't know if it's they put a lot of energy into the first 20 rounds, but holy shit, they were just, they were never in this game. They were never in this game. Obviously, you go back to last season, right, where the Bulldogs were on the rise in 2024, where they come sixth, right? In the last two rounds, they lost to Manly at a call in a fairly big way. And then they got flogged by the Cowboys at a call. And then obviously week one, the finals last year, they played Manly at a call. They had 22-12, got run down 24-22. But this is a similar drop-off. It really is. They lost to the Sharks in the final round of the regular season at a call, 24-6. And the Bulldogs played pretty much a full team in that game. So did the Sharks. Sharks beat them. And then, obviously, the Bulldogs had an opportunity last week to beat Melbourne. Obviously, they lost a lot of players due to injury. They obviously were beaten 26-18, but it was a 2-point game with 5 minutes to go. until Coates got that intercept. But again, the Bulldogs, they fall apart at the absolute end of the year. Like I said, I don't know if they put so much effort into the first 23 rounds of the season and then the last couple of rounds they just look a bit tired and they just, I don't know what happened, but they need to find the way around it, the Bulldogs, because this is the second year in a row now where they've just completely fallen apart at the back end and they just look tired and never in the game. Never in the game. The Panthers in this game were absolutely fucking phenomenal. They absolutely dominated. Now, there was a really tough call early on in the game. I think it was like in the first 10 minutes where Dylan Edwards takes out kick out. Should he have been sin binned? You guys can let me know. I'm keen to hear everyone's opinion on that. But for me, I think it should have been a sin bin. I think it was a professional foul. Viliami kick out charges the ball down on Nathan Cleary, and it was clear. So there was no at the legs or anything. The Panthers even challenged it and lost the challenge. Anyway, kick out's going for the ball. He gets tackled by Dylan Edwards. Why this wasn't a professional foul is beyond me. It was a clear professional foul, in my opinion. Kick out was denied an opportunity to get to the ball. Now, I appreciate the bunkers saying it's a penalty and the Bulldogs take the 2 and go up 2-0, but why wasn't Dylan Edwards put in the sin bin? It was a blatant professional foul. I thought that was a tough call against the Dogs. And besides that one call, the Panthers just went bang. To'o, Alamotti, Panthers were up, I think it was 12-2, and then Galvin went in for a try with Jacob Preston made a line break, and it was 12-8 Penrith. And then after that, Panthers just went fucking bang. 12-8, tries to Cleary, To'o, Liam Henry, Isaiah Papali'i. Half-time, Panthers are leading 36-8. Game over. A 28-point lead that's game, bro. That is game. I know you can come back from 18, 20 points in certain games, but 36-8, yeah, nah, that's ball game right there. Game over. Obviously, second half, Panthers didn't do a whole lot. Alamotti ended up scoring a couple more tries, and then obviously Sherry and Carraz. Oh, Jacob Preston as well. Preston, Sherry, Carraz ended up scoring a couple late ones for the Dogs, but it didn't matter in the end. The Panthers win the game 46-26. Now, no real concerns, I don't think, with injuries. Actually, Casey McLean could be a bit stiff, but he should be okay for the prelim next week. I think Brad Schneider might be in a bit of trouble at the NRL judiciary. Come in with a cannonball tackle. And then there was another one where I think there was a third man in. So, or it was a lifting tackle or something. So Brad Schneider could be in trouble. He might not be there in the grand final now, but we'll see, prelim final. So we'll see what happens. But not much to say about this game. Panthers they were on, man. Cleary, Alamotti, To'o, Blaze Talangi, they all did their thing. Panthers just too good. And looking forward to next week, Panthers and the Broncos up in Brisbane. That is going to be, that's going to be big. Player of the game, look, you know what? I'll go Paul Alamotti. He got a hat trick. I thought he was great. So I'll give Paul Alamotti the player of the game. But well done to the Panthers. Just too good for the Bulldogs. And the Bulldogs, a bit like the Raiders, they go out in straight sets. Very disappointing for those two clubs. But anyway, guys, let me know what your opinion is on both games in the comment section down below. I appreciate you all in the live chat for tuning in. Thanks for watching, guys. Do not forget to like and subscribe to the channel. And I'll be back on Tuesday night for my NRL preliminary final tips. Anyway, should be going to be exciting, man. The prelims going to be exciting. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. Like and subscribe. See yous on Tuesday.